Welcome to Newsbeacon, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The automatic doors of the grocery store hissed open, letting in a wave of shoppers, each carrying their own silent worries about what awaited them inside. Maria Rodriguez, a mother of two, clutched her shopping list and braced herself for the prices she'd find on the shelves. Every trip to the store felt like a test of her budgeting skills, and she wondered what she might have to leave behind this time. The box of Cheerios her kids loved, once a staple in her cart, now seemed like a luxury item. She hesitated, debating whether to swap it for a generic brand or skip it altogether. Every week the numbers on the price tags crept higher, forcing families like Maria's to make tough choices. Should they buy less meat, skip fresh produce, or cut back on snacks for the kids? At a nearby gas station, David Chen, a small business owner, watched the pump total climb with every gallon. Each fill-up was no longer just a routine stop, but a blow to his contracting business's already tight margins. Filling his tank used to be a mindless chore. Now, it's a source of real anxiety. He found himself calculating which jobs he could afford to take, and how much he'd have to charge just to break even. This is the quiet, personal drama of inflation, felt in every aisle, at every checkout, and at every gas pump. It's a story told in worried glances, in the items left behind, and in the sighs of shoppers doing mental math. For families, it means trading healthier food for cheaper, processed options, carpooling with neighbors to save on gas, and putting off car repairs or doctor visits. Every dollar is stretched, and every decision feels heavier. The pain is deeply personal, but the question is political. Why is everything so expensive, and what is the president doing about it? People are demanding answers, and frustration is boiling over. This widespread frustration has become a central threat to the incumbent's re-election hopes, as voters weigh their struggles against promises from politicians. Inflation isn't just an economic issue, it's shaping the future of American politics. Inflation is simple. Prices rise, your money buys less. Imagine your dollar as a tire with a slow leak. Each year it loses a little more air. Last year, $1 bought a whole candy bar. This year, only 3/4. When inflation is 5%, your $100 grocery bill becomes $105, but your paycheck likely hasn't kept up. That's where the pain sets in. Costs climb, but wages lag. Sometimes inflation comes from too much money chasing too few goods. Other times, it's higher production costs passed on to you. Either way, you're running faster just to stay in place. It chips away at your security, making budgeting and saving harder. For millions, it feels like the promise of a stable life is slipping away. Inflation isn't just numbers, it's a daily struggle. Inflation hits home when you see the price tags on basics: eggs, bread, milk, coffee, all climbing. Grocery trips now spark anxiety, not routine. Rent is soaring, forcing families to cut back or move. Homeowners face rising taxes and repair costs. Transportation is no escape. Gas, car prices, and even bus fares are up. Replacing a car or fixing brakes is a major expense. Healthcare costs add another layer of worry. Premiums, co-pays, and prescriptions all rising. A medical emergency can mean financial disaster, even with insurance. When food, shelter, transport, and health all get pricier, it creates a sense of crisis. This isn't just inconvenience, it's a daily battle for stability. That's why inflation dominates the public mood. When prices soar, voters look for someone to blame, and that's usually the president. The president is the face of leadership, quick to claim credit in good times and first to get blamed in bad. Campaign promises to improve the economy linger in voters' minds. When reality doesn't match the rhetoric, frustration turns personal. Voters connect government spending and policy directly to their pain at the pump and checkout. While the president can't control every factor, their decisions on spending, taxes, and energy matter. The details of economic policy may be complex, but the blame is simple. Opponents amplify this, drawing a straight line from policy to pocketbook pain. In an election year, economic anxiety becomes a potent political weapon. The president's stewardship of the economy is on trial. The political peril of inflation isn't new, it's haunted presidents for decades. Jimmy Carter's presidency in the late 1970s was undone by stagflation, high prices, and stagnant growth. Ronald Reagan's simple question, "Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?" sealed Carter's fate. Carter lost in a landslide, a warning to all future presidents. George H.W. Bush faced a recession in the early 1990s. Despite military success, he was seen as out of touch with economic struggles. Bill Clinton's campaign mantra, "It's the economy, stupid," capitalized on this, leading to Bush's defeat. History shows voters remember economic pain more than other achievements. For today's president, these stories are flashing warning lights. When wallets are lighter, past successes fade from memory. Economic hardship is the most dangerous opponent in any election. The lesson: ignore inflation at your own political peril. To truly understand the impact of inflation, you have to listen to the people living it every day. The checkout line isn't just a place to pay for groceries, it's where the real stories of struggle and resilience unfold. Take Sarah, for example. She's a nurse and a single mom, juggling long shifts in parenting. She confides, "I'm working twice as hard just to keep up. Every paycheck seems to disappear faster than the last." For Sarah, the basics, groceries, gas, school supplies, have all become more expensive. Even the smallest price hikes add up, making it harder to stretch her budget. She's had to make tough choices, cutting out movies, dinners out, and even small treats for her kids. Now, life is a cycle of work, home, and constant worry about what she'll have to sacrifice next. Then there's Mark, a retiree who depends on Social Security. He's watched his rent and prescription costs climb, slowly eroding the savings he worked decades to build. "I planned for retirement, but inflation is forcing impossible choices. Sometimes it's medicine or healthy food," Mark says, his voice heavy with concern. Ben, a young designer, and his partner dream of owning a home, but rising prices and mortgage rates keep pushing that dream further away. "It feels like the ladder to the middle class has been pulled up," Ben admits. Each month they watch prices rise faster than their paychecks. These stories aren't just about money, they reveal the emotional toll, stress, anxiety, and the constant pressure of making ends meet. Families gather around kitchen tables, not to celebrate, but to strategize about what to cut next. For millions, it's not just about numbers on a page, it's about the feeling of control slipping away, and the fear that tomorrow might bring even tougher choices. When voters like Sarah, Mark, and Ben head to the polls, they carry these struggles with them. Their votes are shaped by daily realities, not distant statistics. Their frustration isn't abstract, it's personal, and it's directed at leaders they feel aren't listening or doing enough. This collective struggle, shared by millions, is the wild card in the upcoming election. It's a force that could reshape the political landscape. In the end, the voices from the checkout line, the everyday Americans facing these challenges, may be the ones who decide the outcome. Inflation is the central battleground of the 2024 election, touching nearly every American household. From the price of gas at the pump to the rising cost of groceries, voters are feeling the squeeze in their daily lives, and it's become the defining issue shaping political debate this year. For Donald Trump and the Republican Party, inflation is more than just an economic statistic. It's a powerful political weapon. They point fingers at the current administration, blaming President Biden's spending bills and energy policies for driving up prices and making life harder for ordinary Americans. Trump and his allies evoke a sense of nostalgia for the pre-pandemic economy, painting a picture of prosperity and stability. They promise voters a return to those better days, when jobs were plentiful, markets were booming, and everyday expenses felt more manageable. The term Bidenflation has become a rallying cry at rallies and across social media, directly tying the pain of higher prices to the president's policies and leadership. Trump's message is simple and direct. Things were better before, and he alone has the experience and determination to fix what's gone wrong. For President Biden, the challenge is much tougher. He must acknowledge the reality of inflation while also explaining its causes, pointing to global disruptions, supply chain issues, and the lingering effects of the pandemic. At the same time, he tries to highlight the progress made under his administration, especially in job growth and economic recovery. The president and his team argue that inflation is not just an American problem, but a global one, affecting countries around the world due to factors beyond any single leader's control. Biden touts record-low unemployment rates and major legislative wins, like infrastructure and manufacturing bills. But for many families, these achievements feel distant compared to the immediate sting of a $150 grocery bill or a sudden spike in rent. Trump offers voters a simple story of pain and blame, promising quick solutions. The president, meanwhile, must sell a more complex narrative of gradual recovery and shared sacrifice. As campaign ads flood the airwaves, the election becomes a stark choice: a promise of restoration and a return to the past, or a plea for patience and faith in a slow but steady recovery. In the end, it's up to voters to decide whose story they believe, and whose vision for America's future they trust to deliver real relief. So, what can the president really do about inflation? The main tool, raising interest rates, belongs to the Federal Reserve, not the White House. The president can support the Fed's actions and try to build public confidence. Fiscal policy is slower and more contentious. Cutting spending or raising taxes can help, but takes time and political will. The administration can work to ease supply chain bottlenecks and boost domestic production of key goods. Releasing oil reserves or encouraging energy production can offer some relief but often spark controversy. Targeted relief, like expanding tax credits or lowering healthcare costs, can cushion the blow for struggling families. These steps don't fix inflation overnight, and big changes need Congress. With the election looming, time is running out for any major impact. The president's options are limited and the clock is ticking. As the election nears, economic anxiety dominates. For the president, every inflation report is a new hurdle. His team hopes cooling prices and strong job numbers will sway voters in time. Trump's path is clearer: hammer inflation, promise a return to better days, and blame his opponent. He doesn't need detailed plans, just reminders of current pain. The election may hinge on a simple question: who do you trust to manage your family's finances? Will voters stick with the president, hoping for relief, or choose change? The answer depends on whether optimism or frustration wins out. The stakes are high. This is a referendum on economic leadership. In the end, the voices of struggling Americans will decide the country's direction.